All right, let's go ahead and graph absolute value of x minus 1 over x minus 1. And to do so, we are going to write the absolute value function as a piecewise function, and that's how we can make this easier. So let's take a look at the usual way to break down absolute value of x. So this is what I have been telling you guys. Absolute value of x equals either negative x or positive x. And we do the top round if the input here, the x here, is less than 0. And we do the bottom one, just get this original thing back if x is greater than 0. But if it's x equal to 0, the output is 0. It doesn't matter where you put the equal sign, but traditionally you put it here, all right? So pay attention to the inside, because this time we have to focus on the x minus 1. Small fix, doesn't matter. So here we go. We have f of x equals, break it down into two pieces. We will get either the negative input, and you will have to write x minus 1 like this. And the other one is the original input like this. We do this if the input here, so it's not just x less than 0. We will have to write if x minus 1 is less than 0. So I'll put that down. X minus 1 is less than 0. And on the other hand, we will do this if the input here is greater than or equal to 0, thanks to that. And of course, we can just kind of play around with this inequality. We can add 1 on both sides. So this means x has to be less than 1. And again, same thing here. So that means x is greater than 1, right? So that's the implication. So x is greater than or equal to 1. And in fact, if you remember the traditional absolute value of x over x, you have that jump, right? And this right here is just you move the graph of that function to the right 1 unit. So that's the explanation. But anyway, let's finish it. We are still not done yet because we have to divide it by the bottom x minus 1 and do the same right here. But here, notice that when we divide it by x minus 1, x can no longer be equal to 1. So right here, we will actually have to get rid of this right here, because x cannot be equal to positive 1. Otherwise, we divide by 0. All right, so right here, we can now simplify. We get negative 1 and we get positive 1. So now, to graph this piecewise function, firstly, here is like the important point, right? The number is 1. And then let's say this right here is 1, and let's say this right here is negative 1. When x is less than 1, we graph negative 1, which is just a horizontal line down here. So I will put it like this. And notice, right here, x cannot be equal to 1. So I will emphasize that with an open circle at the end. And then, once we have x is greater than 1, we graph positive 1, and that's a horizontal line. Right here, again, it's just a greater than, so we don't open. We will have an open circle here. We do not close that, so it will be like this. The distance might be off a little bit, but yeah, this is what I have for you guys. So yeah, looks okay. It's not so bad actually. Let me just fix it a little bit. Like, okay, much better.